Howdy, small group. Hope everybody is doing great. I hope you're ready to dig into the word, 2 Kings 13 and 14, but also Romans chapter 1, verses 21 through 25, which outlines this thing that I think is really important for us to cover and talk about. It is called the crumble cycle. What are the steps in the crumble cycle? Well, knowing God, but not obeying Him, doing our own thing, being ungrateful, our mind wandering and creating problems instead of thinking about the things of God. And then our mind is darkened. We become skeptical, we become cynical, and our minds are drawn to counterfeit truths and to evil things. Also, what comes along with this is the pride of intellect. Once we've dug our heels into a certain belief system outside of God, we become proud about it. And then lastly, idolizing people and stuff above God. In other words, idolizing the created things above the Creator. This is really a big week for all of us to search our heart. But in our icebreaker, I ask the question, where and when have you observed the crumble cycle occur in your life? And man, I'll just tell you, I don't know where to start with you on this, but I'll give you a few for me personally, just to get you thinking a little bit. How about knowing but not obeying God? There have been a lot of times where it's just completely obvious God has made His character known to me, yet I still would lack faith, or I would be full of anxiety and not trusting in God and not obeying His word. I mean, it just happens. Times where I would want to do my own thing. Even in ministry, we can be guilty of doing our own things instead of doing things God's way, instead of praying first and relying on God. Being ungrateful. This one can be a big one. I can start my day, if I don't start my day with some kind of prayer and gratitude, man, I can be a real jerk on the road. I got to be real honest with you. It's probably good that I don't have a Connect Church bumper sticker, because if there are days when I'm not strong in the word, I can get off kilter pretty easily. And my ungratefulness causes me to have an attitude where everyone else is in my way. Everyone else is keeping me from doing what I want to do. A mind wandering and creating problems. I think many of us could testify of just being full of worry, being full of anxiety. And there may not be a logical reason for that, but sometimes it's because we have chosen not to fully entrust our day with the Lord. Skepticism and cynicism. There have been times where I've had a few bad experiences and I just begin to believe the worst and I get sarcastic. The pride of intellect. I think we all have that to some degree. We all think, we might spend some time driving, talking to ourselves. We've always got the right thing to say, and we're smarter than everyone else. It's easy to get caught into that. And then idolizing people and stuff above God. I don't even know where to start there. There are so many temptations out there as a pastor, but there's so many temptations for me as a man and as a dad, as a husband, to put other things in front of God, whether that's finances or family members or career, anything like that. Time, talent, treasures. That crumble cycle can really get into our life, but we need to realize and understand the crumble cycle destroys everything in its path. So what's the antidote to the crumble cycle? It's a change of heart. It's being changed by the heart of God, realizing what Jesus has done for us, receiving His payment on the cross, but then being continually reminded how grateful we should be because of what Jesus has done, and also because of the promise that we have for our future. We don't have to run the rat race that the rest of the world is running. So I hope that we can all reverse this crumble cycle in our own lives. I know that that's a real challenge. And as you get into the story and as you talk about it, I really hope that that's something that comes out to you. We're talking about this King Jehoahaz in 2 Kings 13. And he happens to be a king that is wicked, and he leads the people after idols. He himself is wicked, but he leads everyone else to be wicked. And then Syria starts beating him up. And so he cries out to God this foxhole prayer, "Oh Lord, save me." But get this, God is so gracious that even though Jehoahaz is wicked, God still gives him grace. God still forgives him. God still restores them. But then they fall right back into it again, right back into that stinking crumble cycle. How many times have we fallen back into that crumble cycle? But Jehoahaz doesn't just stumble in it, he lives in it. He digs his heels in it. And because of it, he leads the nation toward wickedness. This was not about a heart change for Jehoahaz. It's really more for him about behavior modification. And if we think that knowing God and walking with God is about a list of rules or do's and don'ts, or do what Pastor Chris tells you, or subscribe to some kind of a formula or spell for happiness, you're never going to get there. It's knowing the heart of God and how much he loves us and how much he has grace for us and how much he despises to dish out punishment and justice and wrath. But because he is a just God, there are times where he has to do that. So the story of Jehoahaz should be a good example for all of us. And then we have the story of Elisha and the dry bones. And it's amazing to me as we think about Elisha and the dry bones, how he had one miracle left in him, but God used the remnant of his body to show that the dead, by the power of God, can still be raised back to life. Now, is God going to use my bones or your bones or even your words and your testimony and your prayer to literally bring a dead person back to life? He can. I would say it's unlikely. But his spirit can restore a marriage, restore a career, restore your heart, restore your mind, save your soul for all of eternity. And God can do physical miracles. He can. We can trust him for that. So don't let me discount that. But God is a God that brings dry bones to life in every facet of our life. And I think that we need to trust him for that. God can bring your dry bones to life in so many ways, and he wants to breathe new life into you. So as you guys go through your discussion today, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you are warned of the crumble cycle and the story of Jehoahaz, but I also hope that you are encouraged that the God that we believe in, the God that we trust, has victory over illness, has victory over confusion, has victory over conflict, has victory over broken marriages, has victory over our past wounds and our hurts, and he has victory over death and our eternity. Enjoy your group today. Love you guys. I'll see you again next week.